Welcome back. We've got new reporting about the growing signs of frustration and even anger among members of the Ron DeSantis team as the Florida governor struggles to gain traction in the race for the Republican presidential nomination. Leaders of the DeSantis Never Back Down super PAC met privately last Tuesday to work on a plan to fight back against rival Nikki Haley's recent rise in the polls. But the meeting, shall we say, did not go as planned, with two members of the DeSantis super PAC turning on each other and nearly coming to blows. Jeff Rowe, the much-hyped top consultant for the super PAC, got into a heated argument with longtime DeSantis confidant Scott Wagner, while a small group of 9 board members and senior staff were discussing budgeting. That's according to a source inside the room. The infighting highlights an escalation in the long-running war between Never Back Down's professional political operatives and the governor's Tallahassee-based inner circle over who's to blame for DeSantis' failure to compete effectively with Donald Trump. A Never Back Down spokesperson declined to comment, but the Haley campaign did issue a response to NBC News' reporting about the infighting, saying this: the Ron DeSantis campaign admits its multiple attempts to attack Nikki Haley have backfired in spectacular fashion. Future attempts will have the same result. Joining us now, senior NBC News national politics reporter and one of the reporters on that story, Jonathan Allen. John, great to see you. So tell us more about this fight and what it tells us about the state of the DeSantis campaign.
Good morning, Jonathan. Yeah, you've got these two guys going at it. One of them's the consultant, the sort of political professional, Jeff Rowe. The other one is a board member for Never Back Down, this DeSantis super PAC, who's close to the governor. And there's tension because they've spent $100 million or so, and all we've seen is DeSantis, his trajectory go downward and then kind of plateau. So there's a lot of tension in that camp more broadly, and certainly specifically between the campaign and the super PAC. These guys are yelling at each other about who's got a stick where in their body and who should come remove it. At one point, Wagner started to get up out of his chair, and 2 board members had to restrain him. But the bigger question, Jonathan, is what's going on here. And the answer is this is a campaign that has, failed to launch. And for months and months and months, it has failed to launch. And that's got people pointing fingers at each other, blaming each other, and in this case, almost coming to blows with each other.
There's almost a cottage industry of stories about Jeff Rowe, the consultant, but he's certainly not going to be happy about these headlines. Meanwhile, NBC News has also exclusively obtained a copy of a new attack ad by a newly formed super PAC backing DeSantis. Let's take a quick look.
We know her as Crooked Hillary, but to Nikki Haley, she's her role model, the reason she ran for office.
I often say that the reason I got into politics was because of Hillary Clinton.
She said, and that's the reason you absolutely have to. And I walked out of there and I said, I'm running for office.
Hillary Clinton is actually the reason.
You write about her being a big inspiration for you in terms of a leader.
She is actually the reason that I made the jump.
So, John, it's important to note this ad takes past quotes from Haley about Clinton completely out of context. Let's say that again. Completely out of context. We're airing it, really, because it shows a desperation of the DeSantis camp. So talk to us about how they're viewing Haley right now and whether they think an attack like this can help.
Yeah, some of the knocks that they've had against Haley, Jonathan, have resorted to twisting the truth. There was this sort of whole attack line against Haley at one point that she wanted to admit Palestinian refugees to the United States. She had not said that. Now you see this attack invoking Hillary Clinton. And, it sort of touches on something that's interesting, which is that there are generations of Republicans that got into the game because of Hillary Clinton or Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton, maybe not for... maybe not always for the reasons suggested as a role model. I think what DeSantis has got here is, he's looking at a political map where Nikki Haley continues to rise and he continues to fall. And it's getting harder and harder for him to make the argument that he should be the Republican nominee, much less the one Republican to take on Trump within the primary.
And that's why this matters, is that Donald Trump is so far ahead of the rest of the field. He's only going to be challenged if the anti-Trump forces consolidate around one candidate. Haley seems to be that person. Republican strategists right now that you speak to every day, do they think her rise is for real and is going to last as Iowa approaches?
Well, I think the context you just gave is so important. There are some who believe that she can rise and take on Trump and has some sort of path to victory, but most of the Republicans I talk to think that this primary is over and Donald Trump will be the nominee.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly where we are. And there's been no sense, John, of any reverse of course there. So lastly, just give us a sense about, we've heard a lot of the Biden team has really ramped up their attacks on Trump, a one-on-one contrast. How's the Trump team responding?
I mean, Trump has been going after Biden since he first launched. I mean, his first event in New Hampshire was almost entirely about Biden. So, what you're getting in terms of a response from the Trump team is basically more of the same. I think, both camps look at this as basically a general election going on right now. I mean, I think the Trump camp understands that there is that minor distraction of a primary that they actually have to win, but they've been focused on Biden for quite some time.
Yeah, it does feel like the general election is already here. Senior NBC News national politics reporter Jonathan Allen, thank you.